whatever time it is. I don't have a clock on me. Anybody know what time it is?
Oh,
6:43.
5:43, okay.
5:43, sorry, that's it.
Okay. Do we have any public comment? I love these public comment things. It's like, no?
Do we have any public here besides?
Yeah,
us?
we don't have any public here.
Okay.
Okay. Dinner was the next thing on the agenda.
Food,
Okay, I guess we
Good.
did that.
mostly.
Yes, yes. And our real purpose for being here is to discuss phase 2 building project with energy efficient investments.
hey,
You're
that's
on.
me. Awesome. Jamie's just printing out the presentation. I had made a PowerPoint presentation, and we'll go through kind of each of the different measures that we're looking at, and I'm happy to kind of get into detail with you guys. And like any building project, there's a lot of like, how far do you take things? And that's really hoping what we can try to hash out today.
Oh, so that's what he was saying, he doesn't know how to use the technology, because you can just put the PowerPoint up
Yeah,
there.
normally I would just put the
Yeah.
PowerPoint up there, go through the slides and stuff.
I know how to use it.
That's a login issue.
Oh,
Yeah.
they don't give him his own login?
No, no, and if you've ever talked about passwords or something like that with Ray, you would understand why
Oh,
it
okay.
doesn't work like that. Nobody shares nothing. No.
Okay.
Computer security.
Ray is a security IT
That's what I mean.
guru. I mean,
Yeah.
he definitely has a strong focus.
But it's a shame that we can't use that wonderful piece of equipment that, I hope they're getting used in the schools.
Yeah,
Oh, those
I
things
know.
get used all the time. Those are great.
I know because my kids can tell you all about it.
Good.
Mm.
You know, too often, my experience was when we got smart boards in the early 2000s, they just went out and bought one for every classroom, and this is in Woodstock, and did not offer any training.
Oh.
And it turned out there were 2 of us in the school that actually used smart boards
Yeah.
100% of the time. And most other people complained about it, that they didn't have as much whiteboard space as they wanted because this thing was in the way.
Does anybody ever pull out like the old projector
Yeah,
that
we
we
did.
write on? And
Oh, yeah, the
Do they
overhead
still have
projector.
those at the school now?
Nah,
No,
they-
those were the best. I feel
I
like
had this.
those
I
are-
had one 7th grade math teacher, and she used to do tricks on it. So she,
Oh.
because if you tilt the water goes this way, but on the screen it goes that way.
Ooh, wow, I never knew that. No, that's what, I used that 100% of the time until I got a smart board.
Yeah, no, I thought that was a really like interactive process.
It was great,
'cause you
because I could be
s-
watching the kids
Yeah.
while I was writing on it. That was because if you stood at a board, I hated being at a whiteboard. You're standing at a board, you got your back to the kids, and you're talking to the board, and God only knows what they're doing behind you.
Yeah. I just thought like just from I remember like the geometry teacher using it. A lot.
I was just gonna say, I had math teachers that like you thought they went home with that thing.
Yeah, but like, visual learning
Dude,
to me.
you
was-
have way too much affection for that machine.
Oh, no, that was a real game changer to get the
Yeah.
overhead projector. It really was. And then the smart
Geometry,
board was
calculus.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Did you ever use the opaque projector?
You know what?
I didn't.
We had them, but
Also
I
a
never used
mimeograph
them.
machine,
Oh,
long, long ago.
Those,
Oh,
they're
the
best
mimeograph.
smell.
And you get all that blue crap.
Yeah.
You're waiting for me.
Yeah.
And before that, there
We're
was
just
a
talking
jelly
screens.
What if
thing.
the file's
We
too
used it in
big
Sunday
to
school.
print?
It was a gel
A lot
thing.
of ink.
It,
Could I log on?
same
as me?
idea as a mimeograph machine.
Might be able to.
The ink was there, but you put the paper on
Oh, weird.
individually, and it came off.
See if
Oh,
I know
I've
my
never heard of
password.
that. Wow.
Yeah, that was old.
I used to remember cranking
Yeah.
the mimeograph machine.
Now, see, I remember that, but I remember that I was young, and I also went to a parochial
right.
grammar school, so they'd be making
Might be able to
bingo
log in.
flyers and all kinds of stuff with that. And I remember mimeographs.
Oh,
Which one of
I
these?
used to
6
teach
mice,
German,
do you
and
think
I
that's
just
the
throw
right
out
one?
all the tests on the mimeograph machine.
Oh. Oh no, that's okay. We're just trying to share on here so that. Sign out.
Well, thank you, Jamie, for dinner.
You're welcome.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Julie, you still with us?
Yeah, it kicked me off, but then I got back on.
There we go.
When's the last time you saw a fax machine? Oh wait, there's probably one in here, right?
Definitely.
I bet you there's one in here.
Gotta be one.
Oh,
Because I just
Oh,
called
yeah.
it this morning.
Oh, all right.
When I was trying to reach out to Tara, I called that fax machine. I got the number.
Well, they got ways. They've had ways to get faxes on the computer for ages, but you can't beat some things. I bet you if you went through every house in this town too, you'd be surprised at the number of rotary phones. You still probably
Really?
find, not rotary, hard lines.
Oh, I
not
thought
rotary.
landline. I saw
yeah, I was
landline.
just saying
Because my
landline
cell
too.
phone doesn't
Yeah.
work well at my house.
Yeah. I bet you full half the town has a landline
Oh, yeah.
between this crummy spot and that crummy spot and rotary phones. No, I bet you not half the town still has rotary phones.
No.
You know what though? I wouldn't put my money against you finding one or two, finding a couple
Well,
somewhere.
maybe as decorations, but I don't think you could still use them.
Absolutely, I think you could.
Really?
Absolutely.
We have one. This is Julie here, and I'll try it and let you guys know if it works.
right.
I think it would be at worst a quick wiring issue.
Yeah.
But there's not. I don't even think that there's any difference in where a landline plugs in now to the rotary phones that were being manufactured at the end. It was
Maybe,
just it was a little clip with the
Yeah, right.
and
There's Fred.
Oh, Ray's here?
Guys, what are you trying to do?
Oh,
All you
nothing,
have to do
nothing.
is ask. All you-
Hi, Ray.
We got caught.
No, I'm not breaking
Just
anything
comes in
yet.
at the night.
Well, I'm just wondering if it would let me do this. It looks like it's gonna. Oh, that's just it. No, it's not what I want to do. I think
Oh,
Jamie's got to
well, we
email
got the
me.
printouts.
Can you email me what you emailed to Julie, Jamie?
I didn't email anything to Julie yet, but I will.
How did she get the meeting invite?
Oh, you just mean the invite?
That's the
That's
one.
what you're looking for? It's just a private invite between Julie and I. Oh.
Who's logged on, Dave?
Me.
With your SU account?
Yes. Yeah, well, I'm not crazy.
All right, Eric.
All right, you guys ready?
Yeah, I didn't get home until 10:45 last night, so.
Oh my God.
All right. So just kind of starting off on the first slide, really just talking about the goals of the project and what we've been working on. Addressing security concerns at both campuses by creating these catch vestibules or entryways. Some long-term capital needs of addressing the fuel oil tank. Adding ventilation to the library that currently doesn't have any in the science room next door. Addressing some long-term site stormwater issues that were brought up during an original building gymnasium addition 10 plus years ago, and then really to refresh the performance space and make upgrades to the existing gym to make it more of a studio performance space. So that's what we've been working on. The first one, I think if you guys take a look, this is a redesign of the front entry, which is really based on. Did you not get one of these?
I don't have one of those.
Oh, sorry about that. Do you have an actual one?
Yeah, I've got a whole bunch of them. I was trying to email David.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's a really big screen.
Cool.
Should be good.
Hey, Greg. Now to figure out your slideshow.
Do you want me to sign in?
Oh, I sent you the slides,
Oh, he sent it to me. Oh.
or the PDF that at least he gave me. This is why we were gonna do this earlier, Mr. Gray.
It wouldn't be a meeting if you don't spend the first 20 minutes figuring out IT stuff and getting set up. Don't want to break with tradition.
Obviously, he did the polling.
So,
Alright.
ECM 1, secured entrance in lobby. So,
Thank you.
the premise of the secured entrance and lobby, this is really, what was spurred off the original creating the Performing Arts Center. Essentially paring down and eliminating the new addition that was the actual recital space or practice space. It still creates that nice new formal entry on the south side of the building that creates essentially a high school entrance to the school. We have to add additional doors, so you'll notice currently there's just a set of double doors there right now. Due to egress requirements out of the gymnasium, we have to actually have 2 sets of double doors. But really the goal of this project is creating that kind of formal entrance and lobby to both the high school and what will be a future performing arts gymnasium.
On A4, what is what is new and what is existing?
So what you see there is almost all new. So really anything, that wall that's just south of the double doors that lead into the gymnasium, that's existing. There's a ramp right there that you can kind of see. Currently there's a couple small bathrooms in an athletic director office that's in that space right now as you come in. So those small bathrooms that don't meet ADA requirements or anything, those would come out. We add 2 new ADA bathrooms, just gender neutral standard bathrooms. We add the ADA lift. So what you see over there to the left, that would be a platform lift where they can access the gym. We cut in a new door through the stage wall, and that provides access for a wheelchair onto the stage at that point.
Okay.
The stairs are a little bit different. You just sent that to me. Those aren't going to actually happen. It's probably going to be a straight shot is what we're anticipating. So essentially this chair lift over here, what we were talking about is essentially this is going to most likely go right here instead, and it's just going to be a straight shot into that space.
So is it going to be pretty, well, nothing's easy, but is it going to be compatible with building the
Yes.
practice space eventually? Like it's not going to be a huge
This is literally like a portion of the practice space just broken off.
Okay.
So originally when we were presenting the Performing Arts Center, what you see as kind of the end of that vestibule, that corridor was going to extend past the gymnasium, and then that was going to connect to what would be the new practice space, so that people wouldn't have to walk through the existing gym to get there.
Okay.
So this would allow for any future expansion and is just like kind of a precursor to what could be a future
Okay,
Performing
so
Arts Center.
great.
Yes, so that was the
Because hopefully that's
intention.
going to happen really soon.
Essentially, like knock down that wall at the end, continue that hallway
Yeah.
down, and build your new
Okay.
addition on the front.
Okay.
Is what we
That one's
how we
not
designed it.
Cool.
So that square in the middle represents the lift itself.
Correct.
And that's gonna come further down to where the stairs are, and then it'll be a straight shot through that door onto the stage.
That's what I'm anticipating.
Okay.
This is 'cause
What is that?
Julie, I'm
what's
emailing
that
you
white
this
space
document
above
right
it,
now.
And is that gonna be extended because it's moving down? What is all that space that's just to the left of the bathrooms? Yeah.
that space right there is
Yeah.
gonna need this. That is gonna have to get reconfigured. That entryway.
I think that makes sense though, right? Because they come up the lift and then it's straight. There's no turn.
Yeah, and it's a cheaper lift too, because essentially they call it like a straight shot lift, where you go in, you roll into the front, the door opens. Otherwise, it costs more money if you have to roll in and then the side door opens up and you roll out. It takes a bigger footprint as
Is
well.
Julie
to do
hearing
it
us
the
okay?
corner.
I'm just
Yeah,
worried.
still here.
All right, good.
I don't see any.
Thanks, Julie. I just want to make certain you had audio okay when we switched it. I'm sending you this presentation too, just so you have
Oh, I
it.
thought you already did.
Thank you.
Sorry, Julie.
So what I'm getting at, this Tom made a couple changes to this recently, actually yesterday, and we still have to kind of reiterate it. It's a little bit different than what we had originally planned. But the premise is that we would add 2 full bathrooms, ADA bathrooms, add the ADA lift, create that platform off to the left, cut the door into the stage. Essentially, that new vestibule becomes your catch area. So we add an A phone to the outside of the door, to the inside of the door. Both doors are going to be normally locked. One of the things that's going to come up as we get into Bethel is just trying to create some continuity of your guys' systems. So you guys have a few different type of card access switch systems, badge access. Kind of as time has gone on, you've switched to different things. So trying to go to a single card system that, and then working on rekeying over at Bethel as well, and probably at Royalton, and really making so that that one badge is all that person needs to get into the building. And that's going to create for better security for the school, because then you really know who's coming in and out.
Kids will have the badges too?
Typically not. No. Typically only the teachers have the badges. Coaches would have it sometimes. Community members that are utilizing spaces. The really nice thing about the badge system is, you know, if you have a coach that's running a program into the gym for a month, you give them access for that month. You can set time parameters from 5 to 8 or something, and that's all they're allowed to do, to go in and use. So yeah, this is kind of the what you see right now is a lot of natural light. There's a lot of windows, which definitely costs more money. This is, in my opinion, a pretty nice design where we incorporate some of the brick on the bottom. We utilize some of the hardy board siding that you guys have on some of the other school buildings on the columns. And then we do a nice big sign up at the top for the White River Valley Supervisory Union. Usually we do that at like a stainless steel 10-inch letters or something to make it pop. That being said, this is a lot of spaniel glass that does add cost to the project. I have it incorporated into the project budgeting that we have right now. But those are always kind of some of those questions of, you know, you're looking at roughly, you know, about $30,000 window and door package here. If we got rid of a lot of those curtain walls up front and went with like smaller windows that were more, these are what they call like a built-in place window, where they actually like build the sections and they tilt it into place. If you buy more of like a stock pre-built window, we could frame it in. It's just want to have quite that same aesthetic look to it at the end of the day. So, but we wanted to really make sure that we had a nice formal entry to the high school that represented, you know, the really kind of the combining of the two schools and making it a true high school entrance.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the lobby, like I said, is not 100% bedded out. One thing that's going to be a little bit tricky that this drawing isn't depicting right now, but the existing corridor wall that kind of separates your two, what I'm showing here is the two double doors down at the bottom. There's a wall that runs down the middle right now. That's a structural wall. So what's not shown is somewhere in that lobby, I'm most likely going to have either a beam in the center, or I'm going to have 2 carrying beams on either end and span it with an I-beam. So that's not shown, but just a little detail structural aspect that I'm going to have to address when I'm building this. So, number 2. So that's the Royalton entrance, the formal entrance and lobby at Royalton. Covered walkways. So I don't know enclosed walkways. So this is something that I know the principal and Jamie had asked me to talk about and look into. Right now, this is a sidewalk. It's a 4-inch concrete slab. It is ramped. So it's sloped essentially from that door that you're seeing right there that leads into your guys' new gymnasium. And essentially on the other side of the ramp would be the end of that lobby that we're just talking about. It's a continuous ramp, so it doesn't meet ADA guidelines. It was never built as a structural floor foundation. So if we were looking at enclosing this and really bringing it up to like essentially a finished space and having it be fully heated, we would have to go through, take out all of the cement, or at least cut it back. We'd have to put a new footing down, 3 feet down below the frost wall, build up. It's pretty wonky in the fact that, just kind of the building of this structure is not how you would design it if it was going to be a finished space, because they have those like purlins that stick out. So I'd have to insulate those and encapsulate them so I don't have thermal bridging coming from the outside. So to fully enclose that, we could keep the roof, we could put it in, but you're really looking at kind of like baseline cost of a few $100,000 if it was going to be fully heated.
Wow.
Now, what I was talking about with Jamie is kind of, or that kind of happy alternate is, do we look at just putting up some span, like decorative glass and wall panels that would block snow and block wind from coming into the place, but not go to the extent where we say, you know, this is a finished space and we're going to heat it. That's when you start pulling in the heating aspect and we turn it into finished space, then there's a lot of energy code and building upgrades that I have to meet. A couple of the other issues with this kind of just existing pad and style is it's a continuous ramp, so there's a drain, a trench drain down at the bottom closer to the existing gym, and then it pitches all the way up to that door. It's only a 2% pitch. We just got the survey results back the other day, but in order for it to be ADA and actually be used by students, we'd have to create landing areas. So you have to have like a 5-foot flat pad landing area. Then we would slope down again, probably create another landing area in the middle of that walkway so that you could have some doors that go out to the actual green area, and then you would slope back down again to the existing doors. It's incredibly expensive just in general, just because there's a lot of doors there, and you're taking a space that wasn't designed for heating and turning it in.
So in the winter, does that not get used?
Right, that's what we were trying to address, is allow for
And
traffic.
how hard is it for people to access different parts of the building without using that? I get lost every time I
Well,
go.
I mean, you have to walk all the way around the building to
Good
get
exercise.
from, well, when we were talking about security, the idea was that you could actually lock your building down during the
High
weekends
school
and stuff.
separate from the elementary school.
Yeah.
It would allow us to better secure the entries by the actual main office, which
Right.
is what the building was originally designed to do.
And after school, when you have kids in there for sports on the gymnasium side, they're not able to just wander off into the school, which is, currently that's.
Oh, okay.
It would allow us to keep that whole area contained. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
I don't know the building. I'm wondering how many other entrances are ADA compliant and accessible to students in wheelchairs or their families or whatever in the building.
So part of the entryway upgrade, the current high school entrance is not an ADA entrance, the double doors that you guys currently have now. When we do this new entry for the high school, that we would have to bring that up to ADA upgrades. Really, I would say most of your building is already accessible. We are doing significant ADA improvements by doing the lift going into it, so we are meeting like ADA
have
requirements. But if we did this and we brought it up to the extent of like, hey, we're gonna we're gonna fully enclose it and meet code, we would have to meet ADA requirements at the same time.
What about meeting the requirements for the foundation, the concrete, but not necessarily making it a furnished space? Making it so that it's usable for someone in a wheelchair and compliant in that way, but then, like you said, just putting frosted glass or enclosing it so it's weatherproofed, but not necessarily heated.
That could be an option. I haven't looked at that specifically. It would include some door hardware upgrades to it, some ADA push button aspects. If we did fully enclose it, there was an ability that we could actually take out some of those doors, essentially, but it sounds like you probably wanted those for security purposes.
Well, now we'll definitely want those doors.
Yes.
It's not gonna be heated.
Yes. But I was saying if it was fully enclosed, we wouldn't
We did
necessarily
talk about creating like an actual breezeway.
an actual breezeway. But
Yeah.
that, like I said, you're probably looking at, kind of minimum 400,000 for that
Yeah, that
cost.
seems ridiculous.
Yeah.
And the heat, if maybe I misunderstood you, the heat is what really, enclosing it and then making it heated and furnished,
It's
is
if
what-
you, yeah, essentially,
or is it also making it ADA compliant that is?
it all comes down. So what I wouldn't be able to do is just put up wall panels and
Yeah.
just put a gas fired unit heater in there,
Right,
direct vent,
right.
because it doesn't meet energy code requirements.
Right.
So when I get to like that threshold of like, oh, we want to put heat in there, all of a sudden that triggers of like, all right, now my foundation needs to meet, you know, energy
Right.
code, my walls do, all that other stuff. So we could like potentially
But was
redo the walkway.
I was just gonna say, was what I just said unreasonable in terms of expense as well by redoing the walkway?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I think redoing that walkway is probably maybe $20,000 potentially repoured and formed and everything.
That
at the
sounds,
end
that
of the
sounds
day.
a lot better.
Well, no,
I mean, well,
there's
because-
just, it's a tunnel. The breeze runs through there, so
Right.
it doesn't have to be a heated space for us in order for us to use it.
No.
We just need to winterize it better, which is what the facility task force had talked about. Like, ideally, we would do what Eric's talking about, but if the price tag was too high, we had discussed at least being able to get it so that it's not just wide open. What happens right now is those two doors open and the wind just goes rushing through like a tunnel. And that's why it's been getting shut down in the winter.
Okay.
So
As designed, it was supposedly gonna be open for winter. When the addition was happening, it was never gonna be, you couldn't use it in the winter. It's just, quickly we realized there was a real design flaw in regards to that
Okay.
idea.
So I do think, you know, there is an option where we kind of build off of that existing steel, the columns, the frame around it, and we infill it with like some glass panels and maybe it's just some like kind of standard blank, they call them like a make panel, but just it's like an aluminum metal panel
Yeah.
or something. There would be a way where we can essentially either enclose the whole thing or maybe just address like the first 20 feet next to each door to prevent some of that breezeway coming through.
I mean, not only that, but you know, the problem that I've heard Jamie talk about over and over and over with this was that the wind just gushes in. Well, if we put up the panels, can we put up the panels in a way so that the wind just doesn't gush in?
Oh, it would make a big difference.
And then, yeah, I was gonna say, not problem solved, but problem partially solved. Like,
I mean, I would love not to, if we were doing it, frankly, I would love not to have to worry about snow and ice in there.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
we're gonna do it, I'd rather we just do it right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Meaning, not winterize, like not heat it,
Yeah.
but have it
Enclosed
so
it.
Fully
Yeah.
enclosed,
Right.
yeah.
That's- that
because
sounds a
I
lot
don't
better.
know if we will be able to sell the actual full shebang.
And we
Yeah.
could do it, that is something we could build on too, right? I mean, it's like, we don't have to do it all right now.
It would be tough. I would say that in general, like when you're building, you want to start with the foundation.
Yeah.
That's you can build your way up. So if we put this in, I think, you know, it could get. I think it would alleviate the issue of potentially the wind. We would have to add in like a dry sprinkler system in there if we did enclose it, but that's not the end of the world. It's not a crazy expensive cost to it at the end of the day. But I wouldn't build like. To do it properly and make it fully enclosed, you're gonna have to dig down, build the foundation walls from the bottom, and then that will give you the good base to essentially build from. So, I mean, that's it.
At one point, we had talked about garage doors. That's no longer an option.
Garage doors could potentially be an option. Yep.
We've been talking about this for 3 years.
I know. We've had a few different options go over.
Because then it would be nice, because in the spring and the
Well,
summer
I'd like
and
to
the
be able to
fall-
open it up. Exactly.
Right.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
I don't know if you've ever been up to Bethany Birch's camp. A lot of our kids go up there, and when they built a new pavilion, people were upset because the old pavilion had been wide open. And that's what they did. They installed garage doors, and so all summer long, those garage doors are up above, and then now they've got it totally winterized.
Yeah.
And, but yeah, those garage doors are great.
We had talked about that. At
We
one
had
point.
talked about that. I remember that. Would you have a preference on a style of a garage door for something like that?
Cheap.
Show us different examples.
Okay. I can come back with a garage door option.
I mean, I do think that then they're up, you know, even right now, they'd still be up.
Yeah.
But then in the winter, once it starts to get real, you know, cold and freezing, then we could pull them down for the winter.
But wasn't the idea that people could do that, have that open during the winter? Isn't that the idea?
No, the garage doors would close the whole side. So you'd have a
You'd have
line of garage
5
doors.
garage doors
Oh,
or something.
okay.
Yeah.
So it would be closed. But
The
in the summer,
aesthetic,
you open them up.
would suck.
Yeah, the aesthetics. would-
Yeah,
it doesn't
but it
look
would do its
bad.
job.
I think we can come up with a way that we'd have to essentially infill around those posts and create some of those square openings for the doors. I mean, we would have
Waterworks is a great example of this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Up
Yeah.
in Winooski.
Yeah.
And it doesn't look bad. Aesthetically, it actually
And I
looks
think-
pretty nice.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be up at Bethany Birch's this weekend. If they have the garage doors down, I'll take some pictures.
Because they
Have
do
you
have
been
the
to
ones.
Waterworks? You know what I'm talking about? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they do also have the ones that roll up in the boxes. You know, where you mount like the boxes on the I-beam,
Yeah.
and then they pull down more. So that could be an option as well. So I'll come back with some
Oh,
options.
all right. Like when you close a convenience store at night, like.
Yeah, more like that. So it's not going into that space. You
Yeah.
know, everything's rolled up in it. So I can certainly come back with some options for that. So.
Cool.
Yeah, I would just say from a usage standpoint, the building really is designed that we should be able to access through there
Yeah.
all the time. Like
Yeah.
it was,
Yeah.
that was something they missed when they designed this. Like it just was missed. Do you know what I mean? Like that because they designed it that you would be able to go back and forth across the two gyms. Like right now, if we have tournaments, like if we were utilizing both gyms in the winter, parents have to walk all the way up and around our building, which is just letting them, folks are loose through the building all the time.
That's fair.
Well, it's a pain for the custodial teams, right?
Yeah.
Now there's
Especially in the
multiple
winter.
bathrooms being
Mud
used
season.
and
Yeah.
the hallways are getting tracked all up. You could just limit.
Yeah.
I'll come up with some designs.
Yeah.
It's a little bit. I'm gonna have to think about it a little bit, just because like it does slope. There's no flat spots or anything, so we're gonna have to build like a little lip for the doors to come down on and stuff. But
I
I'll
want
come
giant industrial Venetian blinds. Can you do that?
I don't know. I'll have to go out for price. Next measure. Library and science room heat pumps. The library has no ventilation besides the operable windows that are in there right now. I was just in there; it's stuffy. And then the science room next door to it has a ceiling unit that's pretty obsolete and doesn't seem to be working very well at this time. So this project, I don't know why this one doesn't have the updated drawing on it. Oh, I know why, because I put that under the wrong one. That's an old one. Skip down out of that one. That's an old slide that got left in there. ECM, I'm going to go back to that ventilation one in a few. So secured entrances at Bethel. This one, I actually have more slide. There's another slide on this one as well for the next one, but the premise of this is we would be building a new entry. The whole concrete slab has to come out. We have to raise up the whole floor 6 inches. We bring the ramp to the outside of the vestibule. We add new steps leading into the vestibule. And if you go up a little bit, that rendering actually provides it a little bit better right there. So new stainless steel handrails would be going in along the new stairs. We would have a large amount of glass, same thing as a front entryway curtain wall system. We would have that viewing window from the administrative offices that would allow people in and out of the space. And then we'd be reusing the existing wood doors on the inside.
I do have a question that I've never asked you, and it seems a bit odd, but we have the catch area now, and that obviously creates a more secure school. The materials, how secure is this area, and and the new one that we're getting at the high school? Like, it's if those doors are just like, is the glass safety glass? Does it not break easily?
Typically, it's not like bulletproof glass, but you'll get like a ballistic film
A ballistic
on it.
film glass. Okay.
Yeah, so essentially it doesn't shatter when it's hit. It would receive it and it just kind of holds it.
So someone can't, if the door is secured, someone can't just stroll right through. Because if a door is top and bottom half glass and it's not good glass, I could just kick the bottom out and then duck and
Yeah.
you know, it's
This stuff is heavy duty.
Okay.
The glass that you see today going into these doors is, I mean, it's 3/4 of an inch thick almost.
I mean, I know they're not getting through the steel, but a
Yeah.
lot of times
And
these
that
they have
film-
giant windows in
The
them.
film stuff is pretty amazing. I'm
Okay.
sure the technology is even better than it is now, but I had it on a building where I was a principal and the neighbor was target practicing and happened to hit one of our windows. and it does exactly what Eric just said.
It
It
does.
does not shatter, and you
They
can.
have those in a lot of department stores and stuff in Chicago now after a couple riot situations.
Yeah, so I mean, it's like any building. I mean, the Bethel Middle School has a significant amount of windows along,
Right.
you know, that drive side. It doesn't solve all security issues in anything. There's other parts at this school that we want to look at. They've done some fob access at a few of the other doors. I think what we talked about at the elementary school side is creating another catch area in that administrative spaces by reusing, essentially eliminating one of the doors that goes into the classrooms, and then really just adding a card access and an A phone to the inside of the space. So that's also included in this proposal as well.
They have stopped foot traffic there already now. If you go to the Bethel Elementary now, you get buzzed in and then they greet you at the second door.
Yeah.
They've already started
They've
that
already
practice.
started that. Yep.
Can of worms. What'll happen to the mosaic, the stained glass mosaics at the
Leave it.
middle school entrance?
They'll
Oh,
leave it.
Leave
good.
it.
Yep.
I don't touch
I
it.
think there would be people up in arms.
No,
We're
I
learning
know.
our
That's
lesson
why
on
we,
that.
that would still be the interior.
Okay.
I have to do some door hardware upgrades to those doors, those old
Yeah.
wooden doors over there that are going to be a little bit tricky to add the card access, but the plan would be to try to reuse the stained glass and the wood with new hardware.
Okay.
There's a few other things.
Good
that-
question, Nancy.
Yeah.
After the banners came down,
I know.
and the pictures, I wouldn't
Don't
want.
wanna
I
start
don't
another
want. I
storm.
want to start World War III here.
So other things that we're going to do that won't start World War III that will help with the actual safety of the space are elementary school getting rid of the door handles on the exterior of the doors. So that was included in this. There's a handful of doors that still don't have crash bars on the inside. We'd be adding crash bars to the doors that don't have them. I think there was 3 of them that didn't. The other thing that I had included in here that isn't really written about, I have some pictures on this other one, but you guys, there's these what they call mag holds that hold the doors open. And in the
Yeah.
case of an alarm, they de-energize and the door closes. Right now, all of the mag holds are on chains. I've actually never really seen it before, but they're on a loose chain. So when the mag de-energizes, this chain in this pendulum that's holding this weight comes crashing down. And it is a pretty, haven't seen it before, but it's a pretty big safety concern and issue. So essentially all we would do, and
We're talking about it's like a little circle at the top of the door that unmagnetizes when the.
exactly.
Okay,
Yep.
I had that and I lost you when you said giant pendulum crashing to the.
Yeah, because what happens is that that's a magnet, right? That's holding
Uh-huh.
that door, and it's doing is being held by a loose cable, like not a
Right,
stiff cable.
right.
So when that thing de-energizes, some of these cables are 2-3 feet long.
Oh.
You have this mag just falling down, and like smashing.
Walking somebody
things.
over the
I
head
have-
that's coming out the door.
It's not crazy. It's like in 7 locations. It's
Right,
a very
right,
minimal
right.
cost. It was one of those things that like while we're here is like we really need to kind of address this because if it hits somebody, it could definitely be a long-term issue. And it's pretty minimal when you look at the total cost of it. You're probably talking like $50 for each one of those.
Okay.
I mean, we were
Okay,
literally
let's
just
stop.
going to buy the components and we were going to do it. right
Let's
there.
stop talking about it. That's
Okay.
we can authorize that.
Other security improvements. So that's when I was talking about card access. So right now you guys are utilizing a fob system. One thing that I kind of wanted to discuss at one point was your cameras. So you guys have a combination of coax cameras that are centralized to the actual administrative offices and it can't be seen from the outside. And then you guys have a Vertec camera system, which is an internet based, kind of like your Ring camera or something like that. Very easy to set up, but they have a monthly subscription fee that's associated with it. So one of the things that we're looking at is centralizing your guys' badge access at Royalton High School and at Bethel. So you guys have a single vendor that in a single system that does badges. So you can make one badge and that person can get into both schools, or you can give them access to only one school. so they don't have like multiple fobs, and will help with the security aspect of it too.
Can you talk to Ray about those cameras? Because we just replaced a bunch of them across the whole.
We are, yeah. I've already opened up the combo with Ray. So I have Ray. So the tough thing with security systems is they're pretty much all proprietary. So once you go into working with somebody, you're kind of bought into that system for a period of time. So we do have some presentations coming up over the next couple months, and we're going to be looking at different card access systems.
Yeah, not so much the card. I mean, the goal is that we can have a centralized location to see any of the buildings in the event of a crisis.
And that is that Verkada system.
I don't
that
have a
he's
clue
pushing
what it is,
for.
but
And the
we've
Verkada.
already started spending money on it.
Yeah, yeah. So those
This
are.
is Julie. Can I interrupt and ask a question related to that?
Yeah.
I hadn't thought about this before, but if, like a key fob system, if the power goes out, are we secured in a backup system, or if the power's out, does the card or the key fob stop working?
They all have batteries. So they're not like super long term, but typically each one of these doors has its own little backup battery system with them that will keep them operational for a period of time. Typical operation on a they call them like an electronic strike. So what happens is your door's always locked. When you strike your key card, it doesn't change the latch on the door. It just releases that strike and allows the door to pull open. So the actual latch never moves. So in a power outage, the typical operation is that it fails closed or fails secured or locked. So that door could still be accessed utilizing the master key, because the master key moves the latch. It doesn't touch the actual strike, right? So where the card access releases the strike to allow, but it doesn't move the latch, the key will move the latch, but the strike stays the same. So you'll always still be able to access the building in the case of a power failure.
I was thinking, sorry, maybe it wasn't super clear, like, if there's a power failure, will the front doors stay locked?
Yes, they will.
Okay.
Yep. So those are the security upgrades at Bethel. The other things that we were, kind of just thinking about is the two doors that lead out into the elementary school wing from that new catch area in the elementary. Those are what you call a half-light door, meaning half of the door is a window. The ones going into the cafeteria are quarter light. They just have like a little slot, so those are generally fine because you can't really see a whole lot. The two half-light doors into the elementary school, we were planning on doing that ballistic security film, but then also a decorative something so you can't see in it, but you can see out of it, essentially. So it's a custom panel or piece of vinyl. We would stick it over the glass so people can't view into the elementary school once they're in that catch area. So that's the Bethel one, if you don't mind scrolling down a little bit. Whoops. So this is the ventilation upgrade. Somehow that old picture got stuck in there. But really this is adding a new energy recovery unit with dehumidification for the library and for the science room. The unit would be placed on the roof, and then we would have ductwork that there's very little ceiling height in there. So we're going to probably look at going with a flat oval, which is essentially like a round ductwork that's a little bit squished. And it allows me to get it up in between those wood purlins. So we would have to, the goal, this picture isn't showing it too, I talked to my engineer the other day, but I want to move the unit over more of kind of those office spaces in the corridor and then do my drop down through there. And then we would essentially penetrate the sidewall of the library with the new ductwork for a supply and a return. And that would provide ventilation, dehumidification for those two spaces.
That's in Royalton.
Mm-hmm.
And that's at Royalton, yep.
Just the Bethel picture is there, so.
Yes.
Yeah,
Before the picture.
Next, and that library currently has no outside air going into it, so. The original gym upgrades, this was one that really has, I was telling you, like, how far do we want to take it type of thing. Because you can easily spend, over $1 million. You can spend, half of that and still accomplish some of these things. What we were trying to do is create essentially the ambiance of creating a performance space, which was a combination of painting, acoustical ceiling tiles, creating better seating areas, and then lighting and sound upgrades as well. I do have a pamphlet that has a breakdown by area, and some renderings, and this is what we were kind of originally proposing when we were anticipating bigger funding at the time.
Folks want this?
I can print that out, or I can send you guys PDFs as well and all that
I'm
stuff.
okay with PDF.
You have this one if you want.
But kind of the way I broke it down in there,
Did you need it?
I'll show you quickly, just because it's pretty simple. These are kind of the original proposed renderings of the space. Once we paint it, add the acoustical ceiling tiles and do some upgrades of it. That was kind of the aesthetic. Essentially the plan, what we were thinking was you would have a set of bleachers that are normally along one side of the wall. The bleachers are portable. They come in sections. They can get moved out into the center of the room, and then they can act as stage seating for the stage. So it would be a portable seating area. We have options in there even to replace, the single chairs, which you guys already have underneath the stage. You wouldn't have to do that, obviously. There's a cost breakdown, so I break it down by HVAC. You guys do need ventilation and upgraded ventilation in that area. Add dehumidification if you want to add cooling to the space. There's an option for that. Originally, when we were looking at building the practice space, they had wanted to do some sound booths. I don't really have a location of where these Wagner sound booths would go, but I threw it in there in case you guys wanted to put one downstairs, like in a practice room. Those are kind of like a pre-built sound acoustical room where people do individual practices of their equipment. There's bleachers and floor seating. I provided a price for window replacements. There's not much for windows because the big windows that face the street right now are all boarded up with essentially those acoustical panels. Or when we were planning on doing the Performing Arts Center, all that had to be infilled with brick or CMU to essentially meet fire code requirements. But I do have a price in there to replace the windows on the other side of the gym that are still currently in operation. There's stage upgrades, there's stage lighting, and then there's aesthetics as well. So I broke it out kind of item by item. When you total it all up between doing the ventilation, the lighting, and kind of like picking all the nicest stuff, you're at 1.5 million roughly. But that's also with a $300,000 lighting package that was kind of like, go talk to the teachers, ask what they want, give them what they want. It's $300,000. So those are all things that we can definitely pare back. We had acoustical panels in there for roughly $120,000. That would address the sound deadening at the ceiling, and then providing some stage wraparound walls for them. That's something that could definitely get pared back as well. Really, and then even the bleachers. The bleachers, we went with a pretty high-end hussy. It has the ADA support rails on them. I think we had designed right now for 180 seats in just the bleacher section. We can certainly pare that down. That's like 160,000 for the bleacher section.
It
So-
seems to me like the chairs seem to work pretty well.
Yeah.
The bleachers are not very comfortable to sit in the first place.
No, but there's a lot of complaints about not having tiered seating
Right.
for shows.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the solution to pull those out. But I mean, unless I'm reading it wrong, the sound booths are almost $250,000 by themselves. And not that I'm against them, I'm actually for them. I just don't think that we'll be able to justify it to people when we said we weren't doing the Performing Arts Center. Like, okay, well, why are you putting in $250,000 worth of sound booths?
And that's for 4 sound booths, really based off of the original design
Right.
of the building. There's individual breakout costs. If you want to do a single small sound booth, they're around 40,000 installed.
I mean,
And to be truth be told, I don't even know where we would be.
I don't even know where
No,
we put them.
no.
I just put. Sorry
Oh,
about that.
sorry.
and I feel a whole lot better having to sit there and justify that we spent 40,000 on one than $250,000 on a bunch, so.
I think that the soundproofing that's gotta get done, cause it's so hard to hear
Yeah.
anything in there.
The sound
And just the sound when the kids are putting on a play, that's the biggest complaint I get from people is that I couldn't understand them. And the kids are doing a great job. It's not that they're not projecting, it's just it's bouncing all over those brick walls.
And the other thing that, we had in here was a pretty extensive sound system. 171,000 for a sound system. And that was, individual mics on the people, the barrettes, so that was having, a central controller that allowed somebody in the back.
Because right now they rent those.
They rent them, yep.
And I have no idea how much that costs, but that probably adds up pretty, I mean, that to me seems like a good investment, seeing as they would get used.
We put one of these sound systems in Springfield, they love them. Now, it gets really expensive when you start incorporating sound and lighting into the same package. I mean, you can get systems today where you upload the play and you press a button and it does all the lighting and the sound throughout the whole play for you. So it's that's.
Whoa.
I mean, Springfield High School spent $500,000 on their lighting and sound system. They have a press the
But
button.
then that deprives the
type of
kids that want to do the tech work.
Yeah, there you
If
go.
you saw this stage board, they could do whatever tech stuff it's amazing how many switches they have on these
Do
things.
these quotes of expenses include labor, or is that just for the basic?
These would all be installed costs. So
Okay.
yeah. So what I have done is I've reached out. I have basis of designs from a couple different subcontractors, vendor pricing. For the most part, a lot of the people have walked the schools in different areas. Once you guys would tell me to this is a direction that we want to go in, I would essentially finalize the design, put it out to bid to all the different subcontractors, and then come back to you with pricing, final pricing. But I do feel comfortable with all the numbers I'm sharing today. Other items, lighting, that was 286,000, but it also addressed some of the rigging, stage rigging that was in there as well for the curtains and for the backdrop. That's another one that's a very high-end system. You can definitely get one for a third of the price of that. That will probably meet a lot of the needs. And I'm happy to bring in some specialists to meet with your teams if you guys want to discuss that further. And then really gym aesthetics, painting of the ceiling, the ductwork, and the stage black. That's really just kind of like an ambiance thing, but that would require quite a bit of cleaning of, just getting the dust off of it. It's not just like spray painting it. We actually have to prep that metal up there and everything. Curtains for the new cow wall windows. So there are some pretty old curtains up there. One thing that we've been doing a lot, they're not crazy expensive, but, you can just get push button closed curtains on things now, so they don't have to actually go up there and have a bunch of stuff hanging out. Wall decoration and themed performance murals, so that's really just, taking down the scoreboards, taking down the gymnasiums, and actually putting up wall decorations that would more incorporate music or performances. And then indoor wall padding with school logo. So that's essentially getting rid of that old blue padding that you guys have in the back, and then going with an actually flame retardant one. So those are aesthetic upgrades, about 91,000, and like I said, I'm happy to share this with you guys. And I think one thing that's a little bit confusing is we are doing a significant amount of work in that entry lobby area that is really kind of contributing to that performance space as well. So there's pretty significant costs in putting those 2 bathrooms in, the ADA lift, and just improving that for performances. So there's a significant amount going into that gymnasium area.
I just wanted to visit the bleachers again. How much were the portable bleachers?
I want to say they're about 160,000. And that would be for 3 16-foot portable sections.
I mean, that might be an expense where one of our other large donors might be interested. That is a request they have made to want to improve the seating.
Yeah, I mean, I love the idea of improving the seating, but I'm still thinking 2 hours, you know, most of the plays are about 2 hours long, and sitting on hard bleachers for 2 hours without a back, it's hard enough to do it for a basketball game.
I was gonna say people do it in basketball.
Yeah, but the basketball games don't last 2 hours.
These are some cut sheets on it, but it would be like more of like your plastic bench, not just like a straight wood bench.
Okay,
It would be-
that helps, so it's
Yes,
got
it has a little bit of contour to it, you know, it's
Yeah.
more of like an actual seat.
But still no back, I mean, that's,
Yeah, it still would not have a back.
have a couple hours worth of, I mean, people already kinda fight for the better chairs that have the cushy. Some of the old chairs are just metal.
Yeah, I mean, and I think it's important for us to remember too, that would not be our only seating, because we really need to be able to seat about. I mean, I told Eric 300 to 400
Yeah.
ideally.
So essentially this
Really?
setup,
Yeah.
yeah.
So the bleachers will have chairs in front of them.
Yeah, when they do the
There'll be a
elementary
floor section.
concerts, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They get
Parents
300
and
to
grandparents.
400 for the elementary concert?
300.
Oh, yeah.
Yikes.
Well, the one where all the schools come together.
Well, that's in the big gym.
That's, yeah, but that's still way too small for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, when parents come for that elementary, it's not only mom and dad,
Yeah,
it's grandparents.
it's-
we
it's
plan
aunts,
between
it's
3
Cause
uncles.
I was gonna say, cause for the plays, it's probably about 100.
And
Yeah,
that's
no,
where
I'm
the,
thinking more about our actual concerts.
that's where the stack comes in too, because you can't. I mean, the kindergarten, the first grade, if you're 3 rows back, I mean, you can't see them.
No,
so.
you can't.
Yeah,
And then
because
you have
you're
the
actually
parents,
dealing
they're all
with the
doing this with
stage
their
too that
phones.
you're looking up from. If they're back, you can't really see them because they're so
Right.
short. So this one, I think when we originally, and there is a rendering on one of it, but the actual seating would be 200. I just checked it. It's 195 capacity on the bleacher section, and I think in the actual picture we had shown 10 rows, 2 sets, so you have 10 seats, 10 rows on both sides. So it'd be 100 seat on this side and another 100 seat on the other for a total of 400 seats. And it would take up it would go about 70% down the back of the gym.
I mean, you have 100 and, pushing, like 165 to 180 in students, so if a student brings a couple people, we're over a 3 to 4.
Yeah.
And once you get further back, you can't. Basically, when I go to the elementary concerts, if I was that far back, I would just sit there and close my eyes and listen,
Yeah.
because you knew you weren't gonna hear you weren't gonna see anything
Yeah.
from where you were.
Yeah.
It wasn't worth it, so just close your eyes and pretend.
It's not the best kind of rendering, but you were anticipating. This was kind of like the interior rendering,
Okay.
where you can have about 10 rows of single seating in the front, about 20 across, and then the bleachers come in behind it. So, the reason why we went, the problem with some of the bleachers is that we have limited space on the sidelines to push those bleachers up. It's a skinny court as it is.
Yeah.
To maintain those
No, I know,
lines.
I'm glad you guys have thought about that.
I
'cause
literally
it's
have
a
like
skinny cord.
18 inches to be able to stick that thing up and provide it. So that's kind of why we landed on this style.
And where will they be able to be stored when we don't want them up against the wall?
They would have to go in the spot where your existing bleachers are.
Okay.
Yeah, they'll replace the existing bleachers.
But
Yeah.
they go where the existing bleachers are, but if we wanted them completely out of the, are they low enough that we could wheel them out?
I'll ask that question. I think you can pull one row of them out on the bottom.
Okay.
While they're fixed, so that you guys can maintain a seating row for basketball, essentially. I don't think I don't think you're gonna be able to pull 2, because I think
Oh, that's good, but what I'm saying
Width-wise.
is, will they be able to leave the room? Completely.
If you wanted to.
They're
put them-
portable, right?
Why would you want them? I'm
Yeah.
just curious, why would you
If
want
you want that 2 feet back, if you want, why not ask now?
They fit through a door. I can
They
tell you
fit
that.
through a door.
They do fit through
That's-
a door. Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the time to ask the question, like, so that
I just don't know where we would put them.
Yeah.
oh, no, I get that, but
Yeah,
5
to your
years
point.
from now, we come up with, remember when Ed said, now's the time to ask, well, could they
Yeah.
leave if we needed them to? Because once they're portable, that's a whole new, if we did need them out,
Maybe
or,
we could rent them out.
I don't know if I'm going that far with it, but
But maybe we could put them in the big gym when we need more seating in the
Mm.
big
I
gym.
didn't think about that.
Yeah, could you pass through that?
no, because it could be a straight shot if you took it gently, you could get them to the other,
Well, there's that door between.
Yeah.
I just don't know if they would fit. Would they fit through there?
If they don't, we'll make it bigger. Just cut the door open. Get a bigger door.
Sawzall.
That's all you have to do.
That's all it is. Cutting doors is not that big.
Because, yeah, we don't, when we're doing the big thing in the spring.
We don't have enough seating.
We don't have enough seating, so that could come in really handy, because the gym is big enough to take more seating.
Agreed. Yeah.
no, I'm just saying, ask for the world,
And you
and then,
say, and you say that's a couple hundred people, or close
200.
to it,
195.
That would be a big difference.
yeah. Okay, I'm sold on those now,
Okay.
I'm not.
Because you could almost create like a U and
Yeah.
put it.
Yeah,
So sorry, they do collapse in is what we were talking about, right?
yes,
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. You fold
I
them.
was saying about gym class and all that, so.
yeah.
Yeah. I'll
when
get.
we were kids,
These are cut sheets on it. I'm happy to share these. I'll try to get better pictures of actual install of those. But that rendering that is in this drawing is actually the product. So
Got
what
it.
they do is they grab the product rendering, they provide CAD drawings, and then what you see there is that actual, what that would look like in its place.
Yep.
Essentially. Sorry, Becky. I'm all over the place.
Oh, that's all right. My feet are up on the way.
All right. You want to go down to the next slide if we're done with the gym?
What is the state of Vermont 3-acre rule? I don't know this.
That's not what this falls into. Essentially, the state of Vermont does have a 3-acre rule. That's not what's spurring this. But the state of Vermont created a rule that said that if you have more than 3 acres of impervious soil, then you have to have a stormwater mitigation plan. And they set up different territories based off of the watershed of where your water goes into. The biggest one being like up in Franklin County, Missisquoi, is all due to like lake runoff and protecting our streams.
I
You
didn't
guys,
realize they'd passed that.
oh yeah, no, that's in effect. They keep kind of pushing it off, and they set up different territories as being the ones that in different time frames. So you guys are not due until like 2030 or something like that. You said still have like 5 or 6 years. This is really addressing stormwater permitting issues from your guys' original gymnasium project that you guys never followed, that never got done. Essentially, it's creating a curb along the parking lot side of the high school parking. We'd have to take it down all those nice sumac trees just south or just east of the parking lot. We would create essentially this stone drainage area, a couple catch basins, and then an overflow drain as well. So the premise of it would be that all of the water coming from that parking lot goes up against that curb, gets directed into this new stone catch basin drainage area. We have an overflow drain, so if that storage area isn't able to hold all the water, it goes into the drain and then goes back into your brook. But the premise or the goal is so it doesn't go into the brook, but you do have to plan for overflow as
I
well.
just laugh about the idea. But
It all ends up in the same spot probably anyways, but
I wouldn't want the rainwater to get in the brook.
no.
so you all can picture where this is, right? It's out on that back parking lot.
Yeah.
So we're gonna catch the water off the back parking lot and put it in this catch basin instead of it running into the brook.
Yep.
Yep.
All right. Next slide.
And that is to abate what we didn't do during the last expansion.
So there's a handful of spots in your building really within the existing gymnasium that still uses pneumatic controls or air-based control systems. This would be essentially eliminating the rest of it and doing control upgrades on some equipment and then retro commissioning it as well. So upgrading the night setbacks on the systems as well as really just rebalancing it. And then there's 4 pieces or 5 pieces of equipment that I have to do new actuators, new power to, that currently operate off your air-based system. So that's what they call a pneumatic control system. Most of your school has already been updated. This would be essentially taking the last pieces off that air compressor that's in the mechanical room. And then that would give you guys essentially a fully automated building, so that every part of the building would now be TDC accessible and hopefully address some of the heating and cooling issues inside this existing gym that you guys have as well. Next slide.
When you say existing gym, you mean the original gym?
Yes. I call it existing and new. Original. Fuel switch. This is the removal of the approximately 26-year-old, now 27-year-old fuel oil tank that's at the end of its life. Essentially, we add new propane tanks in between those columns in the back. I thought I had that picture in there. And then we repaved where we pulled out the old fuel oil tank. We convert the boilers to LP propane and get rid of all the oil on the site. And then we rehook up your guys' existing propane tank that's over in that location and feed the kitchen with the new tank farm as well. So the above ground that's over in that area gets removed, the fuel oil goes out, and then that really gets you guys ready for your guys' next boilers replacement that you guys will probably need in about 10 years, 5 to 10 years.
Okay.
So nobody's going back with oil. It's less efficient. It burns dirtier. So just by doing this fuel conversion, you guys would reduce your CO2 output by about 30%. Historically and recently, you're looking at about 5 to 7% cost decrease from propane to oil. And then, down the line, when your boilers are at end of life, you guys have that next fuel source that will allow you guys to be more efficient and ready for it. So it's addressing something that is at end of life and really should get replaced sooner before it fails. Creates more issues.
And again, if we ever do get the money to expand the shop, is this going to still work?
It would, yep.
Yeah.
So this would not impact any future expansions in the back. Yep.
And then the tank would be out of there.
And the tank would be out of there. Yep. And then this would give you guys new tanks. You can either own the tanks or you can rent them potentially from your guys' propane supplier. We went through a very similar process over at Bethel. At Bethel, we bought the tanks. You guys bought the tanks. And then really what ends up happening is you guys would go out for kind of like a year or two propane contract with a supply vendor. And
Just did it last night.
Yep. And then after it, then, if it were to trade hands, then, essentially you guys own the tank. So there's no big deal about switching.
Yeah, I mean, I think in general, because we have been going out to bid, if possible, I think we should try to own them.
It's
just
not.
makes it easier.
Yeah.
You either own them now or you're going to own them
Yeah.
later.
I
It's
think it makes it easier when we.
you get a lot better competitive pricing when
Yes.
you take that aspect out of
Right,
it, and it's
yeah.
already preset.
Agreed.
So,
And we do have several vendors locally. So.
Right, exactly.
and just in general, the propane's it's cleaner, easier to work on, more people willing to do it, and it gets you guys ready for when that oil boilers, when those things do need to be replaced, no one's going back with a cast iron or oil boiler anymore. So it's getting you guys prepped in the right direction. So if you go down to the next slide, taking a while here. With all these things and just a rough budget, which I really highlighted in yellow there as the original gymnasium upgrades. If you pulled out the ventilation, if you pulled out the acoustical aspects of it, or the sound booths, that saves you about 600 or 700,000 of the 1.5 million. That gets you around that 800,000 for gym upgrades. I just picked a number of 500,000 just because I realized that you guys can't do it all. So I just put a number in there to come up with roughly a total budget of around 3 million. But it also includes 2 walkways. So I have the unheated walkway where we would essentially just be utilizing the doors and trying to create a breeze and snow stop for around 45,000. And then I have the fully enclosed, heated with ADA upgrades at 370.
So we could take the 370 off of the 3 million.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then that gets you down to 2.63.
And how much money do we have in our capital fund?
2.2.
And if we, I wonder if these upgrades to the gym would satisfy people for us to use the grant money.
It would. Yeah.
So we actually have enough money right now to do all of this.
Yeah, I mean, I think we should talk about as a board whether I would recommend not to drain your full capital
Right.
fund.
But there must be more money coming into the capital fund now this year. I mean, this is what we
Well,
had.
we would need to ask permission. We can't assume that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're looking at about a $300,000 surplus from last year.
Uh-huh.
So
And we already had 2 million in the capital fund.
you between what you added last year, Tara told me it's 2.2 and change,
Okay.
right? And
Plus
then
the
so if you add
$300,000
3,
surplus,
Yeah.
plus $500,000 from the Byrne Foundation.
the anonymous donor. Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
That's-
Um,
The camera's here. But I think there could possibly be another donor as well
yeah,
that may participate.
yeah.
Yeah, you can do this, I think, without even needing to lease or anything. I think we could put a project together.
That's what I would like to see us do. Enough of this messing around and just,
Yeah, the anonymous 500 I think was huge that they committed to do that. The thing the board needs to be ready to do is so they were looking at about a $1.2 million project, which I think if you look at your entries and the work you're doing to the gym, I'll need to break that down for them. They want to see it. Their idea was that they would contribute, 500 with like a matching 750 is what their thought was. But I do think that they would be fine with the ADA lift, which is what I put in the letter requesting the money, and I talked about the new entrance. They'll see that as all part of that package.
and then we could continue to fundraise to do the practice room.
Yeah, or anything on this list. I mean, that's why I broke it out by individual line items. And same thing with the lighting. If you wanted to say, hey, we're gonna base fund a basic lighting package at $80,000, and then you guys, to get X, Y, and Z, it might be another 30,000, and maybe somebody would fund that difference or something. That's why I tried to break this out in a way that would help you guys raise funds for it.
Yes, and I think, we had another potential large donor who I think if they knew we were getting ready to act would contribute toward the project.
Yeah.
I think they would pick a piece of the project to contribute to.
I think it's pretty exciting.
I mean, getting some money for the sound or the lights would probably be both good and enticing to some of the donors. Just like some of people were really stuck on the seating.
Everyone has their own thing.
I was going to say, I know for a fact that there's some people that are very keen on the sound and the lighting being better who may be happy to contribute.
Do you have any idea how much other money is in that fund that the boosters have
I
done?
believe it's around 50.
Okay,
That's my sense.
okay. And that,
And
so that
there
could
was
be
another
like-
donor that I talked about last spring before the vote failed, who was possibly considering taking some money they had set aside for a scholarship fund that they did themselves, that they thought they could turn over, and that they prefer to put toward this project,
Okay.
which was going to be like, I can't remember exactly off the top of my head, but it was over 20.
Okay.
Are we still, not to be Debbie Downer here, but are we still assuming that these improvements will make the school more attractive in the event of a worst case scenario?
No, I don't think you're being Debbie Downer at all.
Okay.
Meaning, like, I think that's the way we should be thinking forward.
Yeah.
Like, yes, I think this improvement sets us up as a district that if there was forced mergers, that you could be primed in the sense of that you'd be set up to be a high school, right? Like if you needed to be a high school, that building, I've talked about this with EEI, and at the facilities task force, we even talked about if we needed to expand in order to do that off of the elementary, what's currently the elementary wing, that you could build more classrooms off of there, and you could be set up to be like, 700 student high school.
And are the donors aware of the possible eventuality of mayhem?
I wouldn't call it mayhem. I believe they're very up to date in regards to
Okay.
what all the talk is.
Okay.
Yeah, I think if you look at if worst case scenario and they were looking at different campuses and saying, oh well, they need XYZ upgrades, they don't even have a lift to get kids onto the stage. I think everything on the list kind of goes right along with that. Maybe I could see devil's advocate. Maybe the performance-based stuff is not part of what I just described, but certainly an aged oil tank, needs HVAC upgrades. They don't have outside air going into the library. If some commission or task force was looking at buildings, and those would certainly be hits against us. So
we're one of the few high schools that actually doesn't have an auditorium. So I actually would argue that doing this hits against us.
I just mean in terms of
the bones. Yeah.
Yes, the bones. Yes, exactly.
But we are one of, I think, when we researched that.
There's
at
not
one point.
many. I mean, of your size, I think
Like
you're
a
about
handful.
as big as you that wouldn't have one.
And thing is, even if this is going to happen, all of this mayhem, we're probably talking how many years out? 5, 10?
Right.
Yeah.
It's in the meantime, we need ventilation, we need
security upgrades.
security upgrades.
Yeah, I don't think you'd be seeing mergers of schools happening until between 7 and 10, right? Because that would be the new boards would be making those decisions, and they don't come active until 3 years out.
Okay.
So they're gonna want to take a lay of the land
Yeah.
before they start just.
And if we just
Gals
keep
in
building our
schools.
capital fund, we're gonna just lose all of that money anyways if this merger happened.
That money would go to the new district, absolutely.
And regardless, like you said, nearly all of that is time sensitive. It's a detriment in the meantime. So if we were to say, well, let's wait and see, and that 7-year process, 10-year process, you've already had, kids that went through the entire school system almost.
So, speaking of time, if we said, we're gonna do all of this, what would our timeline be?
Probably next week, right?
Yeah.
We can get started right away.
I have a small design, I think at the end of this, if you
Yeah,
scroll
it's
down
right
one more
here.
page, there is a timeline. Oh, there's project financing, I just put in there. That was just saying that you guys could potentially lease some of this stuff if you wanted to, as a performance contract. We're seeing typically if you're below $1 million in lease funds, the max lease term is about 15 years. If you get above $1 million, you can get 20-year terms. And we're seeing rates anywhere between 5 and 6%. The higher the term, or the higher the dollar value, the lower the rate, essentially.
And
So
just so
what-
the board remembers, the legislature last year changed the law with performance contracting and leasing to allow us to go from 10 years, was it 10 to 20?
To 20, yep.
So that's a big difference. And when we, remember, your leasing example, part of the work we did in Bethel was a 10-year lease. And so just so the board realizes that is different than going to bond. The lease is a board decision.
And they did that specifically for school districts that have had a really tough time passing bonds in school budgets. They really did that to open up essentially more of these capital improvements without having to get voter approval.
But would we have to go to a lease?
I don't think we'll need to necessarily.
Yeah, I mean, if we can do this without that, I don't think anybody's gonna complain.
No, it's great, and the thing to remember is, our bond payment on the gym is coming off the books in 3 years.
Yeah.
So that is an opportunity if we did have to really dip into our reserve funds more than we wanted to. In order to do the project in 3 years, the board could consider taking half the bond payment and starting to contribute that toward your reserve fund. Where really, if you look at our capital improvement plan that we had developed, we're really not we've been putting away plenty because of reserves, but what we're actually contributing annually in the budget isn't enough to like what we should do annually.
Yeah.
And we haven't had to touch that number because we've had some surplus funds.
Yeah.
But
So,
What's the feeling in Montpelier these days towards school construction aid? Is
they
anybody
talk
gonna
about it
have
every year and they don't have a plan.
There's a current task force in place at this time, and they have no revenue source.
Yeah.
And their priority is to address the school consolidation, and they can't really figure out how
And
they.
PCBs.
And PCBs are still struggling with that. I think they're trying to dough out the last of those funds associated with it. So my understanding is that at this time they are still meeting they have a new committee formed, but they're really outside of saying that they want 21st century schools. Until they came up with the framework for the districts, I think they're at a little bit of an impasse on that.
I mean, I'm just
construction.
thinking area schools around here that need severe upgrades,
Yeah.
and we don't. Ours
Yeah.
are-
Oh yeah, no, I think it's a
Yeah, we're in a
no-brainer
lot better
now.
shape.
We are in a much better shape, right?
Yeah.
Hartford's got PCB issues. Woodstock's talking about waste backing up per Representative Holcomb. And Randolph knows they need a new building in the next 10 years.
yeah, wow. Oh, so that was Woodstock. That's where I came into the meeting yesterday because I had the dead space between East Barnard and Royalton.
Yeah, it was Woodstock.
Woodstock's got waste backup now.
That's what she said.
Oh,
They also
lovely.
have a failed steam system over there too.
Yeah.
They did not.
And they've
I
got
don't know
mold.
why, because 3-4 years ago, I came with a plan to get rid of their steam system, and they decided to upgrade their steam system, a 50-year-old system.
15 years ago.
I don't know why. It baffled me.
15 years ago, 3 of my 8th graders did a project about wood chip boilers, and we presented to the school board.
Yeah.
And they did all this research. We visited schools that already had them and everything, and they smiled and thanked us for coming in. And
That was it.
yeah. And then about 10 years ago, when I was still teaching at Woodstock, a couple of the school board members said we should have paid more attention.
Yeah, the wood chips they were a great program for the state 30 years ago. They
Yeah.
probably have them in 30 or 40 schools, these huge chip boilers.
Yeah.
And they're amazing. They're a third of the cost of fuel oil. Unfortunately, you guys don't have the real estate
Yeah.
here to be able to do it. It's very tough to try to incorporate them into small footprints
Yeah.
because they're pretty massive.
Yeah, well, Woodstock had the footprint. The
Yeah.
kids did a great job researching it, but yeah, they wanted to stick with that old steam
Yeah.
that was band-aided together. There was only one person working on the staff that knew how to keep that steam,
System up and running.
and he retired about, 6 or 7 years ago.
Groundskeeper Willie.
I'm happy we got rid of your guys' steam systems when we did. We got rid of 3
So-
schools in one summer.
So if we just add a year to all of this, would that still be a good timeline?
Oh yeah, I don't know why I missed this old 2024 January. So essentially, if I get approval over the next month, approval from you, and just funding identified, it doesn't have to be a formal contract or anything. Then I'm gonna take what I have here as conceptual drawings and turn them into bid set drawings over the next 2 months. I go out beginning of January, get pricing, put it out to bid. Then I come back to you guys, end of February, beginning of March, we sign a contract based off of all the final bid numbers that come in. We start the project summer 2025 and we get it done.
2026.
Summer 2026 and we
Yeah.
get it done.
So that's next summer.
Yeah,
Next summer.
Yeah.
And it's I mean, I would say that we would be, like anything, we always have our schools open. We always get our certificate of occupancy, and then we usually end up having some punch list items through the years. So through the year. The one thing is that some of those, one thing that I do have to look into, and I'll just touch base, but some of these aluminum doors that you guys are proposing have very, very long lead times. funds. So that is something I'm just gonna look into in like 20 weeks potentially. So I might have to order some of that stuff up front. I've done it in the past. It's not that big of a deal, just to make sure.
Well, and just so we know, one of our anonymous donors want us a commitment to make the donation by the end of this year.
Yeah, then there. Yep.
So what's our next step?
I think that as a board, you should just make certain we've got it. I mean, I think the facilities task force will meet again, and we should just narrow this down and get a real as tight a price as we know, so that at October meeting, you as a board are just thinking about, you know, this is how much we want to finish fundraising. Here's what we want to use for capital, so that we can finalize this.
And is this something that we have to warn 30 days or anything like that?
This is just you get to act.
Okay.
I'm gonna come back and get pricing on
Yeah.
garage doors for that area down through there, and that's gonna be kind of my focus, and I'll try to update some of that other pricing too. But I feel confident with the stuff that I have, and you know, for us, it's we do open book pricing. I'm happy to share the vendors and stuff as we go through. I'm gonna try to work with all local people as we put this together, and really the goal would be to maximize, you know, the scope of work based off the dollar values that we have in there. So, for instance, if the project came in maybe a little bit over budget, instead of doing, you know, 8 rows of stacked glass on the front, maybe we just drop 1 row of stacked glass. So those are some of the VE items that we've worked through once final pricing came in. But conceptually, I feel good about where you guys are at.
What about?
I have a question, if now is a good time to ask. I don't know if you can see my hand raised. I noticed we're not talking about the shop expansion anymore. Is there any way to get that back in?
Not without leasing. I mean, one of the things the facility task force talked about, Julie, was that we were concerned about expanding our footprint when the voters didn't approve for us to do that. So all this work is within the current footprint. So that's what at least we as a facility task force had discussed as a concern with that project right now.
But we would be able to still do that at a later date, even with everything that we're doing.
Right.
That
Could
none
be
of
as soon
this
as
is
a
going to
couple of years.
interfere with that shop expansion eventually.
It enables it because it actually eliminates the fuel oil tank that needed to come out in order for you guys to do that shop expansion. So it does get you one step further along that line.
And the same thing with the practice room, that we're not talking about that at all right now. But
Right, but I guess we're talking about making upgrades to the gym for the music program, but we haven't talked about the shop, so it's still being put towards one thing and not the other. I just wanna make sure it's a conscious decision we're making.
Well, we could also get some kind of a PTA booster situation going for shop expansion as well.
because
There's no reason why
yeah,
fundraising efforts can't be brought about for that.
there's a
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the other big thing is we have to remind the community that part of it could be, I mean, we may have as upwards to 800,000 that was literally fundraised to do the performing arts.
yeah.
1.2
So that gym
space.
stuff for the performing arts is, we can say, is being paid for by the fundraising that was specifically for performing arts.
Well, then, on the other side, if we can do everything that we've got here and pay for it and be done with that, people will look much more favorably on a small shop expansion.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yes.
You guys might be able to pay for it with capital funds the following year.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We may be able to do it within a couple of years.
Right.
yeah.
One question I had is about the current front doors. So we've talked about it in the past, and I don't remember where or when. And changing the way that they operate. Current front doors, sorry, on the Royalton campus, the front doors, elementary school doors, if we call it that. We do have stacked double doors, but the outside one is the one that is locked.
Yep,
Whereas the modern security system, the inside door is the one that's locked.
they're both locked typically.
Typically, they've been both locked in schools.
Right, sorry, that's,
So you want to add a card access to the inside door and essentially have that operate off that secondary push button from the administrative desk.
it stands to reason that that's a much safer way for that to operate.
I would like it to be a double buzz, to be honest with you.
Double buzz would be even better, but it just currently, and this is actually the reason that I got roped into the school board, because I went to a meeting and brought this up, and anyway, currently, you know, as traffic comes and goes, if you know you're being polite, you hold the door open. The person that buzzed one person can't see who else is coming through the door until they're already through the door. That doesn't stop somebody if they're inside the vestibule area, but that is definitely an easier, you know, controlled access point. Not to mention kids that are trying to get or parents or whoever's trying to buzz in during the middle of the day when it's pouring rain, and it takes, you know, everybody a minute to see who's there and buzz them in. They're standing there in the rain. You know, that's a more minor point, but
I mean, don't want to do anything that doesn't have double buzzed.
I'll update that. I mean, we would essentially have it on 3 of your entrances except for that one.
Yeah, no.
So I would think that I'll update it. I didn't realize that was the case, but essentially we would have the same setup as Bethel and
okay,
White
great.
River.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring it up, just make sure it's still on the radar.
Double buzz with A-phones.
I want the ones like the jewelry store, where it locks and you can't get out until they decide to let
Yeah, I
you.
mean,
We need a really loud buzzer too.
every recommendation's double buzz, so we can't say we're doing
There's
this
a
and
reason
not
for
double
that.
buzz.
I just wanted to verify that, yeah, that is.
Good.
This is great.
Yep.
Very thorough.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. And I will forward Jamie all this information so he has it. I'm happy to leave. I have a handful of cut sheets in here, and this is just kind of more for Jamie, but you know, we went through, we have audits on every single camera at Bethel, the type of it, you know, and recommendations for additional cameras, and so I'm happy to sit down with Jamie and the school staff to get into the weeds of the details, but like anything, it's where do you start and where do you stop on some of these schools, because the needs sometimes can be endless, so.
Awesome.
Awesome sauce.
Right on.
Yeah, I think in the spirit too of the, I mean, obviously not getting everything that we were going for, and by we, I mean what we were trying to do for the kids, right? But I think in the spirit of like everybody saying, "Whoa, that's a bunch of money that we don't have," and you know, we did try to pare it back, and we tried to go through that process before. So I think now what we're saying is, we're not taking that away from them. We're leaving that on the table for the future. But we're doing what we can with what we have right now.
Right.
But also, I think the message needs to be like, this is a step in the right direction. We're doing what we can for the building, the needs that we already have. But we're not, in my opinion, in my vote, we're not abandoning those future projects, because I do see them as just super important. I mean, I was very supportive of what we were calling the PAC, or the, you know, the practice rooms and all of that, because I think it's super important. And like you just brought up, one of the only high schools in the state without a real
I think the
performance
safety
center.
features, especially nowadays, given
Yes,
stuff
like
that's
I said,
happening in
that
the
was the
world, it's
reason I
really
ended up
important.
sitting here.
Yeah.
That was a huge concern for me as a parent and now as a board member, because
Well, I mean,
I couldn't believe it. I mean, I went to a large high school, and they did some upgrades, and now they have what's more standard. But even before that, we still had 2 sets of doors, and you had to check in at the front office door window that was right there. You couldn't just walk into the school. So
how many incidents do you need to prevent for it to be worth the money? Well, just one.
Yeah.
One incident avoided,
Yeah,
the money
or
is
I
well
mean-
spent.
yeah, and even if they're not, you know, hopefully you're not actually avoiding an actual incident, but
Right.
not having it there is just irresponsible.
But
Yeah.
in my opinion, you can't really put a price on avoiding any kind
Right,
of a
absolutely.
security issue. So,
And it doesn't have to be anything massive either. I mean, security issue is security issue. We had issues, you know, kids being kids getting into the school when they shouldn't be there. So
Yeah.
it's preventing a lot of that too.
Well,
Great.
do we have anything else on our agenda?
No public comment?
Oh, public comment?
There's public over there.
good.
That actually wasn't
For the
on
record, that was
agenda.
a nope. I'm all set.
Do we need a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.